Hi guys, it's me, your Hanyo, and a couple hours ago I went to the movies, saw two awesome films. So one I really loved, another one not so much, and have started to say that this one was the one that I didn't really like. Yeah, it's kind of a hard word to use. I did like this movie. I did not love it though. Uh, Before though, I actually talked about the film. I want to say real quick, I went to see this movie in 3D. Now, back when 3D was all the craze in the late 2000s, it was late 2000s, yeah, 2009 and like 13, basically. Um, no, sorry. Yeah, I always loved 3D movies. I thought they were really cool, even when just like little subtle effects. Basically, the awful post conversion movies. I like to go see them. I never really fully understood people when they said like, "Oh, this movie is blurry. I can't see what's happening. I can't. It makes me look ugly." I mean, there's some films that are like that for me, but not all of them. So I was really kind of excited when they said this movie's gonna be in 3D because 3D has been making a bit of a comeback in the last year or so. So I'm gonna go see this in the 3D picture, and oh my god, I don't know, maybe because I'm getting old, but I finally understand what people mean when they say 3D is awful. It hurts my eyes because oh my freaking god, this movie was terrible to look at. I mean, it didn't fully that was at least bad part of the film, but it was awful and shitty to watch. Like so much of the background was blurry and just things just feel like kind of uneven. Like you can see the 3D effect kind of unlayering itself on certain actors and environments. It was the worst 3D experience I have ever had. And I was thinking like, oh, it's gonna be really good because maybe they've been improving the 3D technology for some time, and that's why it's trying to make a comeback. But no, no, this is like the worst 3D experience I've ever had. I'm pretty sure the 3D technology's gotten worse now. That was truly one of the most disappointing things about the whole film. Made Mama Hanyo made her motion sickness. But about the film though, so Captain America: Brave New World. Um, the movie was just it was okay. I mean, it's nice to have a Marvel movie that's not horrible, but this was just okay. So yeah, you don't know. Kind of got the base plot from the trailer that we have. This takes place after the Disney Plus show. Captain America. Sam Wilson is a new Captain America, and there's this plot to undermine the government, and it's all targeting the new president-elect Thaddeus Ross. And you got a whole bunch of this is spoilers. Like this is a spoiler video. I won't give major spoilers. I'll try to keep some of that under wraps. But the whole thing is, this movie's kind of a Hulk movie. You know how people kept joking like, "Oh, Captain America: Civil War is kind of like Avengers 2.5 or whatever." This is what this movie feels like. Like, this feels like this was a script for a solo Hulk adventure, and then eventually it got turned into Captain America. Like the Hulk had to be a part of this script, at least one or two drafts, because it features two major Hulk villains. Um, the Red Hulk, which you see in all of the marketing, and then the kind of small reveal, which I'll just tell you because most people are not going to know or care. It's the leader. The leader, the guy from the Incredible Hulk from back in 2008. Now I know this because I'm one of the few people in the world that actually really liked the Incredible Hulk movie from 2008. I liked it in theaters. I liked it when I watched it later on. It has issues, but I thought it was an okay movie. I didn't understand why people hated it so much. So, imagine the balls on Marvel to make a film that's more or less a sequel to one of their most hated films, or at least unappreciated films, depending on wherever you feel about Hulk from 2008. Um, this kind of it for plot without going into too much spoilers because the movie doesn't really have a lot going on. I mean, we have a lot of cool action fight scenes, and by a lot of cool, I mean some of them are cool, some have good shots in them, but a lot of the action in this film felt very stiff. I was gonna mute the mic for a second. Sorry. I blew my nose. And I think threw up a little bit. Not cutting it out. You're gonna have to live with that. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the fight scenes. A lot of there's a lot of cool fight scenes in the movie. I like how they adapted Sam's fighting style with this new Wakandan suit and how he tries to use the shield and he has his red wing helping out with the shield. I like his new fighting style. It does great to differentiate him from Steve Rogers Captain America. But then there's times where the fight scene is where he's using. Sorry, I'm feeling a little bit sick right now. Maybe with the popcorn. But there are times in the fight scenes where he just feels like Steve Rogers Captain America because he's using the shield like he actually has powers. You know, the film goes out of their way to say near the very end that he never took the super soldier serum. He doesn't have powers, but he uses the shield like he does. And there's very obvious parts in the film where they try to show him being superhuman without being superhuman because the fighting becomes very bad. Like it gets very stiff. And you can feel the choreography, but not in the fun way. Where it's like, oh yeah, I can. The actor is going up to this point, so Sam can halfway not really punch him in the face. You can feel the choreography and a lot of the fight scenes, especially in the opening fight scene. And there's another fight scene where you can really tell. There's only really two great fight scenes in the movie, and that is the part where they're trying to de-escalate the tensions near the Celestial Island, and of course the part with the Red Hulk. Oh yeah, the Celestial Island. So we finally got. They finally mentioned the freaking Celestial that's been sticking out of the Earth, halfway out of the Earth for like after like 6 years, whenever the Eternals came out, and I kind of like what they did with it because they're using it to introduce not vibranium, adamantium, which is cool. All right. Kind of a maybe it's a bit lazy to say this how they got adamantium in the MCU, but it has been confirmed since Guardians of the Galaxy that Celestials have random elements and junk coming through their body. So, hey, it's technically in canon, so I don't care. Apparently, they really want to get the mutants in soon, unless they do a whole reboot of the MCU, which they probably really should do. Um, yeah, so I basically have a sort of sequel to The Incredible Hulk, bad action, a plot that is very mishandled because things just feel like they happen sometimes and not like in a good explanation. With the characters, I think the characters were mostly handled well. Anthony Mackie, I do love him as Sam. He does do a great performance. His little buddy, that's the new Falcon, I mixed on him. he does the typical MCU humor, and the actor makes it work. It's just I just don't want to see it there. But they don't do a lot of humor in the movie, so when it like he is specifically the for a comedic release, so that was nice. I like this movie was trying to be more serious whenever it happened. Who else was in this movie? Really, I'm trying to think of all the other side characters. We got the Serpent Society in here. That's what we want to talk about, the Serpent Society. Now, I don't know much about the Serpent Society from the comics. I never read any comic with them in it. I've seen them in some cartoons, but I do. There's really supposed to be kind of like Snakes theme. They're supposed to have some robotic tech. They're supposed to have like venom powers. At least the ones I remember from Earth Mightiest Heroes. And these guys are just random dudes. And like, yeah, they're tough dudes. They got Gus Fring for them, but they're just regular dudes. Like the whole opening action sequence is a mixed bag. But you know what's been really, really cool? It's some weird snake people with mechanical tails and shooting venom. I mean, yes, you probably have to go more heavy on the CGI, but rule of cool. Come on, guys, rule of cool. And speaking of Gaspacito, Gasfring, he was really good in the movie, but that's like saying water is wet. I mean, he is kind of phony in a couple parts because the script is literally doing nothing for him. I think he's actually one of the things they added in throughout the mini reshoots. I know the director's like, oh, we only had 22 days of reshoots. Excuse me, my boy. 22 days of reshoots that were scattered out upon each other. Because I know this film was like issued like for reshoots like at least 3 times. And the original title of this movie was called Brave. I'm looking at the cover code. New World Order. Yeah, New World Order. I got the Falcon 3D cup at the cinema. That's really cool though. That's one good thing about this marketing I really do love. I used to get all the 3D cups. What was I talking about again? Oh yeah, characters. We got a Black Widow character. I'm not sure if she was from the Black Widow movie, but we have a Widow as one of the president's bodyguards. She was alright. She didn't really have a big personality. She didn't really play a big part in the film. She was kind of just there, which I'm not sure why would you introduce a widow level character and not have her have doing ever really be a part of the story. And then we also got who else? Who else? Who else? I'm trying to think. There's another very important character in here. Oh, Isaiah from the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, and I'm gonna be honest, I like the actor who plays him. He tries to give the character so much heart, and I really do love that. I hate the Isaiah character. I understand what they're trying to do with the character, like the message they're trying to send. I just don't think it's well. I'm not, there's something with it. I guess it's because they don't really do anything with his character. I'm not saying he has to have a big important fight scene because that's not really what the character's there for. But if sometimes it also feels like he's just there. You know what I mean? Because remember, this movie really feels like it should be a Hulk movie, and if you were to replace Isaiah with Bruce Banner, not much of the film would change. Of course, you could say like, "Oh, Sam doesn't have a big connection with Bruce. They weren't big friends like that." Maybe, but they're work colleagues. He was friends with Steve. It could have worked slightly better that way because the Hulk really should have been a part of the story. Now we got done with those characters. Let's just look at the villains. The villains, okay, so we got, like I said, we got Gus Fring, which he's kind of phony it in, but he's really good, even when he's just not giving it his all. Because you can really I can watch the actor act next to a wet piece of paper, and it would be art. Um, we got the Thinker in this movie, and Thinker is actually so the Thinker is a character I'm not that most familiar with. I never really read Hulk comics when I was growing up, so I mostly know the Thinker through the cartoons, kind of like the Serpent Society. But I do not have a good gist what the character is supposed to be about. And the character has good motivation for this film, and it's just more or less how they use him. So like the makeup on the Thinker is very mixed. They do a lot to keep him in the shadows when you first see him, and then when he's out in the open, he looks ill. Like he looks sick and he looks disgusting. Like he looks like a zombie. You know, kind of like because you got Hulk and Red Hulk were like they're like good gamma monsters. They got Abomination, which in the MCU he kind of is like a zombie creature because you know his bones are exposed. But the Finger, he looks like stripped like a corpse, kind of like a vampire. And the whole effect to show his brain mutating out of his skull. It's okay, but you really wouldn't know that's what it's supposed to be unless you know the character. I mean, they don't really have to do something like from like Mars Attacks, where the brain just flopping out like boo boo boo. But I think a different look for the character would have been a lot better. And I think because I really do think I didn't keep up with the whole production of this film. I did not. I didn't care about it. But I really do think the Thinker was one of the characters that they added in during the reshoots because he doesn't really do a lot in the film. I mean, he has this interaction with Cap and Falcon in his little bunker, but he doesn't really get up next to them. He doesn't really touch them. And then he only really disappears in quick little voiceovers. He has a scene where he goes to his house and kills his couple, but that's all he does. He just stands there. He just stands there, does nothing. And then there's this part where he randomly just pops up to kill this one guy, and then leaves. And then one last conversation with Falcon, or I'm sorry, Captain America, and like you can tell like there was supposed to be another villain for this movie. I'm not sure it was supposed to be the Serpent Society. I don't know. It was supposed to be just Thaddeus Ross. But there was another main villain for this movie, and it was not the Thinker. Or the leader. He's the Thinker. I call him the Thinker. It was not the leader. Because he just goes down so easily. He's like, oh, you're supposed to be the most intelligent guy on the planet. You can easily predict things. Oh, why didn't you predict all this? I don't get it. And now we come to the Ross. Thunderbolt Ross, Thaddeus Ross, and I really do like what they're doing for him in this movie. I like the ideas they have in the film because we got a Ross who is past his Hulk days, and we got Ross that's past his Hulk days. He's trying to be a better person. He's trying to do this thing where all the nations can come together to get the adamantium. No one has to fight for it. And I like this for a progression for the character. I say this goes bad because Harrison Ford, well, it's Harrison Ford and he does I more or less like him every time I see him. He is really phoning it in, except for like a couple parts. Like I don't really see him really caring about what he's doing. And also, well, there's been recasts throughout the MCU. He does not feel at all like the Thaddeus Ross we met before. This does not feel like the same character William Hurt played. William Hurt, yeah. And it's just sad. It's just sad. Then only like Oh, we could have got William Hurt if things were just a little different. Is that bad to say? I feel bad for saying that. But I like the arc they gave Ross. I like him trying to control his anger, how he was used by the leader, and it all comes up to the very epic um fight we seen in all the trailers where we got Hulk, Red Hulk, versus the new Captain America. And was it a great fight scene? Hell yes. It was the most entertaining part of the film. By far, by far. It was the best part of the movie. I like we finally got to see Hulk being pretty terrifying and powerful. We didn't really see that in the last couple movies. I mean, besides Avengers 2, what did we see? I mean, we got Hulk in Thor Ragnarok, where he was just a goofy dumbass. Yes, he has some cool fight scenes, but I like the way to use the character. I didn't like the way to use the character in um, Infinity War because they turned Bruce Banner into a bumbling dumbass. And then the next Hulk movie, his Hulk and Bruce are basically merged, but they just have Bruce's personality. And I hate what they done to Bruce's personality, so I freaking hated that Hulk. I didn't watch She Hulk. I seen clips of it. I watched the clips of it. I didn't like what they did with Hulk really either. So it was fun seeing just a monstrous Hulk. Uh, and how one bad thing about the fight though is the fact that Falcon is taking very very little damage during the whole thing. Yes, he has vibranium technology, he has Wakanda technology, but it also feels like this is a Hulk. This is a Hulk. It should be a lot more destructive because they really do go out of the way to try and show that yes, Sam has no superpowers. He has no strength. He has no greater strength. He has no greater speed, no greater healing or durability. But it feels like he is getting very lucky during this fight. I'm not saying he should have been like lost an arm or anything. God no. But you feel like like a rib should have been sticking out. Like he should start bleeding heavily. And then the whole thing where they calm him down by doing the this is not really you thing. Like really, we've seen this so many times. I would rather just have Ross just get control of himself. Like, yeah, he's just that much of an angry person. He knows his anger. He's lived with his anger and rage. So he just kind of like after he mellows out for a second, like he just gets control of the Hulk. I think that'd be a little bit more interesting. But what is the whole film about? Like I said, it's just trying to pressure the president into humiliating himself and destroying his legacy. Cool. That's about it. I'm not sure what I expected. I guess I expected a bit more leading up to Doomsday and stuff, but I don't know. It was just a nothing movie. It has some good parts in it, but it was just a nothing movie. It feels like this should come out so much longer ago, so much longer. This should have came out like right after Shang-Chi. I think that'd been a good place to put this movie because the whole thing about the film, it's not a whole thing, but there's a sorry, just tapped the mic. There's a line in the film where Ross is like, "Glad you're here. I want to restart the Avengers." And I'm thinking like what the fuck? I mean, that line was in the trailer, but I just started thinking like, wait, so the Earth has been Avengerless for like years, like. But what was that whole post credit scene at the end of with the Shang-Chi where you have Bruce, Captain Marvel, and was there the third person? They're like, oh, we're looking at the 10 rings. It leads to something bigger than this. And, like, weren't they the Avengers right there? Did they change their name? Are they now the Ultimates? I don't. Even Marvel can't get their fucking shit straight. But I guess this is their way of saying, like, oh, we're gonna get on track. We're gonna get the Avengers together because the leader, he gets this whole line like, oh, you heroes want to protect your world, but you're not the only heroes, and they're gonna do something to save the world, save their world. And it's like, is he? It took me a second to think what he's talking about. Like, is he referencing the multiverse? Why the frick does their leader know anything about the multiverse? I mean, okay, yeah, he's smart enough to figure it out that it exists, and he can probably reach it. Fine, I buy that, but why does he know about the multiple Kangs or Doctor Doom or whatever the main villain of Doomsday and Secret Wars is supposed to be? Like, why does he know that? Does he get in contact with somebody? Did Galactus tell him that, hey, I'm going to be invading your universe and sometime next year? You better wait for me. What is it? What was it? Oh, God. Now that I'm thinking more about the film critically, I'm starting to hate it a bit more. But I want to end this video, so I'm gonna say it one more time. This is a very mid movie. A lot happens, but also nothing is really accomplished. The characters are okay, but that's it. They're just okay. The action is great when it is, then bad when it is. Like, there's no real middle ground. The best part of the whole movie was spoiled in the trailers because they really try to go like, oh, is Thaddeus the Hulk? Is he Red Hulk? Where is Red Hulk? Like, they don't show it in the film, but like, you got this part where they're in a submarine, and that's a submarine? No, it's a ship. And Thaddeus, he looks like he's about to turn, and you're like, the whole thing's supposed to be like, what's wrong with the president? What's wrong with him? What's happening to him? And then we get to the press conference at the very end, and it's like, oh, wait, he's Hulk? He's Red Hulk? Like, for one, if you're a fan of the comics or the cartoons, you already know that he's Red Hulk. And two, they spoil it so heavily in the marketing for all the people who don't even know the source material. So it wasn't even a big spoiler. Not spoiler. It wasn't like a big twist. It wasn't a big reveal. It's like, oh, that happened because I saw it in the trailer. I saw it in the marketing. Or I was smart enough to figure it out. It'd been so much better if we didn't know Red Hulk was going to be in the movie. Like I said earlier, get those useless human serpent society out there. Get some creepy robotic snake people. Have Falcon fighting them throughout the film, and use only that in the marketing. And then at the very end of the movie, when the Red Hulk is revealed, people will flip their shit. I mean, the comic fans will know what's happening because this scene on the ship. But all the normie fans, the people who don't read the comics, people like comic books, that's for children. I'm an adult. I don't read stuff like that. They're like, holy shit, he's Hulk. Like, he's red. He's a. Oh my, honey, he's like the Hulk. But he's red. He's Red Hulk. You could have got a lot of fun interaction and gasp with that. But no, because modern marketing likes to spoil the shit out of their movies. Marvel was very fun with that by putting fake things in the trailers. But like in a fun way, not like a bad way. Because I thought it was fun most of the time. You couldn't just put someone else there. They know you're good at it. This really should have been a Hulk movie. This should have came out after Shang-Chi, replaced Isaiah with Bruce Banner, recast Bruce Banner. I'm tired of Mark Ruffalo. Uh, get a new Bruce Banner, and just took the film just a little bit, it would have been better. It would have been better. Like I get more pissed off the more I think about this. We have Liv Tyler. Liv Tyler, I love Liv Tyler. She has like quick minute voice cameo close to the end of the film where you're thinking like, oh, that's her reappearance in the movie. She made a literal phone call and they recorded it, but then she shows up at the very end for like a minute, like a minute and a half appearance. And well, yeah, it's cool to see Liv Tyler back. It's cool to see Betty Ross back. It doesn't save the film. It doesn't make the film any more better or special. It feels, you know what it feels like? It feels like the tacked on ending of Exorcist Believer, where they just bring in Reagan for like a quick second, like, oh, it is it's she's here, Reagan's here, like, yeah. When the film ends, you're not getting any fucking brownie points. I say, if you really want to see this movie, don't go and see it in theaters. Unless you really want to support Marvel, which, hey, you do you. Go see this like somewhere like on like the Black Pearl or Davy Jones Locker. Go see it somewhere there. You know what I mean? And then if you have Disney Plus already, just watch on Disney Plus. It's gonna come. It's gonna go there like in 3 weeks anyway. You're not gonna miss it. Or just watch the fight scenes on YouTube because that's the best part of the movie. It really is. Alright, I gotta go. I have to quickly record another video and go help someone out. So, bye. You mid level piece of shit.